Welcome to the Calibre podcast from the Watches of Switzerland Group with myself, David Lindsay. I'm the VIP Director at Watches of Switzerland. Today I'm with George Bamford, the founder of Bamford Watch Department, who created personalisation on some of the world's most iconic watches, along with Marc Michel-Amadry, of whom I've had the pleasure of knowing a long time in the watch industry. Marc became the Managing Director of Girard-Perregaux in February this year. We're delighted to welcome members of the press here as we launch the George Bamford and Girard-Perregaux Deep Dive event here in our Knightsbridge Watches of Switzerland showroom. So let's get to it. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the press, to our Calibre podcast. This morning I'm joined by George Bamford and by Marc Michel-Amadry. And I'm really delighted on behalf of Watches of Switzerland to be here. My very first event that I went to when I first joined Watches of Switzerland back 30 years ago was the Girard-Perregaux Ferrari event. So,
magnificent. Wow.
30 years on, I'm delighted to be here today. So, first of all, congratulations, chaps. And a question for you both, but I'm going to start with Marc on how did the project come about? How did it start?
I mean, what is interesting is that it's not our first collaboration with George, and I think it's our third collaboration. It's very successful. We collaborated, we partnered already with on the casquettes,
yes,
on the Ghost Laureato, which is absolutely magnificent. And I think what is the recipe for good collaboration is when you work with people who are genuinely interested in the brand, who love the brand. And I think that George has fundamentally a real passion for Girard-Perregaux. He understands the brand, understand the depths of the heritage and the history of Girard-Perregaux. And I think that's the first point. And of course, deep diving, and I don't want to play on words, but deep diving on the heritage and history, I think the deep diver became an obvious choice. And maybe I'll let you take over from here, George.
I feel like you've taken everything. I was like, oh my God, I've been thinking about deep dive as one of the comments. It really was. Working on this as the third, if you talk about the trilogy of the watches, there has been the three icons, and the deep diver for me was something that I loved as a watch, and, I had as a vintage piece. And then when you look at the Laureato and the lines that come from the Laureato into this watch, I was like, hell yes, we've got to do something with this. For Girard-Perregaux to turn around and, thank you guys for working with us, but to actually do this and to do it to such a level, it was amazing to go through this process with them. And it's been a long time coming, and the reason why is because it's been getting it right. Everything about it. The other thing is there's an iconic vintage advert, and if you ever Google the vintage adverts of Girard-Perregaux, you can see this advert, and it's got this guy in what I could describe as Speedos, but it's got the watch next door. And that for me was one of those things that inspired all of the colors, all the colorways. It was very much like, this is such a cool watch that we've got to really pull that back out. And especially at the moment where, I think we need to accelerate on colors, and enjoy colors. I mean, you put an orange tie on today. I'm wearing a bright
in on or off, yeah.
But it is that kind of wonderful thing. You think about even blue on blue it's all about the colors and the wonderfulness that comes through on this watch. So I'm very lucky to do it.
So how long ago did you have the idea, George, on this?
How long ago? Quite a while ago. I mean, when we were going through the Laureato, it was one of the things. I mean, I've got it in my pocket. I've got my original vintage one, and it's sat in, and it's not the original color. Sorry, the original colors were a lot nicer. They were black, and there was an orange to it, and it's faded over a period of time. And that was always my kind of watch that I love putting on, that everyone goes, what is that? Tell me about it. And so I wanted to bring that back in. And when you think about the other two watches I've done, the Casquette for the only watch that was, I mean, really an amazing project to do.
Yeah.
This was very much, everything was involved on doing this project. And I was very lucky to be doing it, but it's taken a long time because we wanted to get it right, get the marketing right, get everything right. And we've finessed it, and it's with the best team. I mean, really, I've loved working with everyone in the GP team. I think when the first time I met you, I just went, you have got a rock star team, and you really do.
We do. And I think it pays tribute to this consistent effort to provide this message around the deep diver, which I think comes along absolutely perfectly. Absolutely.
And was there anything specific that you wanted to preserve in the modern day deep diver to either one of you chaps?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can answer that one, because basically we need to recognize that the original version, which is the reference 9108, which was introduced in 1969, and the inspiration of the version that came 2 years later, that inspired also the design of the Deep Divers Legacy Edition with the red dial in 1971. I think the beauty of that product is already at that time it was a true piece of autology. And I think that's absolutely important, because at that time it was incorporating the gyromatic system, which was a very clever bidirectional winding system, paying tribute also to a long tradition by Girard-Perregaux to innovate in the field of precision and mechanical movements. And here we come also with a true piece of autology, not only in the finishing. The case is absolutely stunning in the alternation of satin finished in sun rays brushing, the polishing, the attention to details, the mechanical movement, the caliber 3300 from Girard-Perregaux, which is also very emblematic. It's a piece of autology while displaying this fresh look with vibrant colors. That, George mentioned about previously.
But also when you put them side by side, everything feels like the original, but it's taken up to the next level. You've talked about the engineering on it, but everything about it, from even the strap to the glass case back to how the glass case back, you can see through the movement. I love even small things about underneath the strap. It wicks away the water because it's got a concaved underneath. You look at every element, and they've kind of looked at the past to create the future product, and titanium as well. Yeah. And the finishing of this titanium, I love how it's polished, and the matte and the different finishes. It is really, when you put them next door, and they're just over your shoulder, and when I see them side by side, you can see the legacy between the two of them. But you can see that it is built for modern day. It's built for you to enjoy it and to go in any environment and go and enjoy it. And that's what I love about this. And I love that it comes with the two straps, because for me, that, you look at it, we've got summer and we've got suit, we've got office. It's kind of both of them.
By the way, two different styles, and it works extremely well.
And the beauty the beauty is obviously you can change over the straps.
Absolutely.
Easily. But they've thought of it. This is the thing. Everything's been thought through. Every little bit. It's a quick release. It literally is just a spring bar. It's so simple, because it's saying, keep it simple, because we know that people want to change their strap. We want to be easy. And that's on everything on this. It really has been thought through, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell from the continuity, even down to the box. When I came here first thing this morning and I looked at the display, obviously I just wanted to go for a swim in the hotel in Monaco, because that's how it gives you the impression. But the box looks like you're going into a swimming pool, doesn't it? Tell us about that, George.
It is truly thinking out of the box, by the way.
Look, I love design of packaging. I've spent a long time in Japan, and I always think about when you receive something and you open it up, the first delight is your eyes, and the packaging for me needs to be something like that. And I envisaged this, and I envisaged most of the boxes that we design and do, but I envisaged this to sit on your shelf with some amazing books. Like, if you go to a Ralph Lauren store and you see those wonderful cars and the things, and then you've got these books, and I always love that. And so I think packaging needs to be sung about. If someone has done a job well, they really wrap this watch into something that's actually amazing packaging. So for me, this was amazing as, you've got the two colours through. It's very reminiscent of another brand, but I love the colours. I love how it's been done. But when I look at it, it is one of the most unreal boxes. And this was taking a vision, and Girard-Perregaux's team, or your team, really, really accelerated and did something like really knocked it out of the park. When I first saw this, and I saw this at Geneva Watch Days, and you had a display, and this was in the back, and I saw it, and I almost cried. I was like, what the hell has happened? Because I didn't think it would come off as well as it has. And it really is one of those boxes where, it is reminiscent of a swimming pool. And I love that kind of.
You know what, George? I'm going to hire you as a salesperson because I think you're absolutely outstanding. It's beautiful. No, but you're right.
It is. I mean, like, how cool.
It's part of the experience.
I don't know what you guys think, but
it is.
But can you imagine that sitting on the bookshelf after you? This is one of those things that, you can put the watch in the safe, but this, I love that it can sit there and people can go, oh, that's really cool. And it's really about that engineering, the design. And I love but that's the attention to detail that what you talk about, the people that are making the watches care about every element, and they really do care about, even on this, even this hinging. And, when my first vision of this, it was out of paper. It was really a card-based thing. And then I got this and I was like, oh, hello. But it's unreal.
No, but that's true. And what is important is that it's more than a piece of horlogerie. It's an experience. It's an experience on the wrist, an experience how you can play with colors, an experience of how you suddenly feel different when you have it on the wrist. And of course, this whole environment, it's also what collectors are looking for today.
Well, for a long time, I've always encouraged everybody at Watches Switzerland, whenever they're showing a watch, whenever we have a client, always show the watch in the box when they come through. For two reasons. One, because it shows it in its best light, but also from a slight psychological perspective, obviously they have that feeling of ownership. They can see it, they can take it already. I think this looks absolutely beautiful. And it's a limited edition of 350 pieces.
350?
I'm sure we'll be over demand for pieces in the UK. And obviously we'll be showing them, we'll be presenting.
We get already, and we discussed about this with George earlier, but a lot of visibility and excitement on social media. I mean, it's really a watch which doesn't leave people, uninterested. I mean, it's really something that is happening now.
Okay.
And honestly, when you look at the reaction, I said this as soon as you came in, I was like, oh my goodness, I think it is the mixture of the colors, the design. It's Girard-Perregaux doing something that is respecting the past and creating something into a future product. And it is something that I think is a little bit unexpected as well, but not unexpected by you guys, because what you did with it, when you did the casquette and you've done you looked at the past to create these products, and that's why I love what's happened with us.
We had the casquette just blew so many people away. It came from left field. In fact, I took some customers over to GP a couple of years ago, and the very first customer who bought the casquette, he came in here and he saw the big construction, for want of a better word, and his customer said, I want you to fly that over to my house in the UK. So within a week and a half, GP had flown over the casquette, sits proudly in his house, and he's the very first customer. When I messaged him this morning, because obviously the 14th was the embargo was until this morning, he said, "Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. I'll pick it up."
Oh, good. Well, that's what we need.
And what is interesting with the casquette is that I have met so many Girard-Perregaux collectors who owns extremely expensive tourbillon or the 3 golden bridge timepieces, and they wear the casquette very proudly. So it's really something that also make every GP collector extremely proud about the brand.
I mean, to that extent, do you see this appealing to a new, younger audience coming into GP?
I think it gives a light to Girard-Perregaux, which also bring new clients, new people, new collectors into the brand for sure. And for us, these collections, which are part of what we call the legacy editions, is also a way for us to pay tribute to 234 years of history, of heritage, a lot of innovations in movements, but also in design. We have to remember that Girard-Perregaux has created all its designs in-house, in even the Laureato, which was designed in the 70s at the time when a lot of excellent designers brought a lot of added value in terms of new models. Girard-Perregaux was certainly the only brand to design the Laureato in-house. Mm-hmm. So all this wealth, all this richness in terms of design and innovation, this is what we want to display within these legacy editions, where the deep diver is part of it.
Yeah. We had a great success last year. It was our centenary last year with the Laureato, which was with a beautiful rose dial. It was the first time with a rose gold dial. Mm-hmm. We had 50 pieces, and that was, we had clients.
How cool was that?
Yeah, really cool. So we had a really good time. But I see this, I really see this appealing to somebody who probably hasn't heard of GP before. Potentially, it could appeal to a new audience potentially also as well. What do you think about that?
I think when I look at it, I think it's on every point. If you love watches, I think it should be one of those watches that you look at and you say, oh, I want that. I think we've launched, it's a beautiful day today. So I think we're in a very lucky environment, but it's not only a novelty. It is one of those things that I would love this, like the Laureato, we did the Ghost. This is something that will continue. The amount of people that ask me, I was talking to your guys here, and the amount of people that are asking, can I buy a Laureato Ghost? And, it's done. The same with this. I feel like we're going to have the same, because I've got the same vibe as what we had with the Ghost at the start. And it is one of those things that it's not only just, oh, this is a new product. It is going to be something that's existing. It's going to be something that people go, in 2-3 years time, they'll see us on someone's wrist and go, oh my God, I missed out on that. And I would love that to be the case, because that's what I have with the Laureato. I was in Singapore, and I was wearing the Laureato and someone else was wearing the Laureato, and they're like, oh my God, and it was like we just chatted about how cool the watch is.
Yeah.
And I'd love the same to happen with this. I think that it is not about the people kind of discovering GP, because I think that, people will discover it from the journalists, from everyone that's talking about the watch. They'll discover it that way. But it's more, it's got to be, I always say got to want to steal it, but in London you can't really say that anymore. So it's kind of like, the Japanese way is doki doki, that connects to the heart. It's that watch that kind of connects to you. And I feel that we've done it together, but I hope that's the way that people will see it and go, oh, I want that. And then it's the heart and head kind of connecting. What do you think?
Yeah, I can only agree with this. I mean, yeah. And again, I think that for young collectors, GP has a lot to say and a lot to share. And I think the honesty and the integrity behind this 234 years of being an horlogerie manufacturer since 1791, I think is also something which is critical to young collectors. And this is a story that comes on the forefront when we engage with them. So definitely.
I see the passion when we go around your manufacture. We went to the high horology room, and I saw one of the watchmakers has got one of the bridges tattooed on
the bridge on the arm. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. As we've got ladies and gentlemen from the press here this morning, I was just wondering if there's any particular questions anybody had about they want to put to George or to Marc.
We could answer them.
Yeah.
Don't be shy.
Oh, please do.
Since we already briefly spoke about it, but I think it's a story worth sharing. Tell us about the caseback engraving.
Pull die, yeah, so pull resistant. Firstly, I've got to say, when you go to the house, the Girard-Perregaux house in Switzerland, there is something you have to discover, and I don't know if it's on the tour ever. They discovered a swimming pool underneath the house. So there is a swimming
In our villa, there's
a swimming pool underneath the house.
It's a coincidence.
And so when we started off this project, they just kind of uncovered a lot of the swimming pools. So I was like, this is awesome. I have a little thing, and there is a few little Easter eggs in this watch. And why I say Easter eggs, they're little nods to the history, to some of the design elements, even down to the bezel. I mean, you know, the bezel rotating and how it is, but the engineering, you've gone to the next level. The pull resistant. I have this thing about every time a dive watch, it annoys me that everyone takes their dive watch off and puts it on the side of the pool. And, you know, you said, no, you don't, but quite a few people do. And so whenever you're at these luxury hotels, you know, people even take them off for the shower. And this watch is it's built to go diving. It's built to go into pools. It's built to go anywhere. So I wanted to kind of almost highlight that as a little thing and say, you know, this is resistant to a pool. This is resistant to going diving. So when we were doing it, it was kind of this, and it's not there's nothing, you know, it's me kind of playing out a little bit of my fantasy on this, of saying, please go and jump into a pool with it. Go and enjoy this watch. You know, it's 200 meters. This can go to depths, and you can dive with it and enjoy it. And I have gone diving with this watch. So I would say to you is, I've gone scuba diving with this watch, and it is amazing. The colors work very well. So that's my kind of little insight. I hope I've answered it.
So what are the other Easter eggs we should be looking for then?
I don't know if I should. No, but if you look at the dial of it, you firstly look at the vintage Girard-Perregaux logoing. You know, to do that, it's respecting the past to create a future product. It's saying, actually, we respect that. But my name is on the dial.
Right.
But you can hardly see it until you look under a black light. And I love that, because it is that really, I wanted to respect, you know, this is, as you talk about it, is the original was such an amazing watch. It was designed and engineered in such an amazing way. So to have it, you know, we were talking about the logo, and it was going to be, because it said gyroscopic. Gyromatic. There we go. My dyslexia hits in on that point. I'm sorry about that. But, and that was written where the Bamford is. And there was this debate back and forth. Should we put it in white? And I said, no, let's do it on the set. And it's how it's been done and how it's been printed. Now, this is really taking it to the next level. Every little element. And the greatest thing is I have, so we've been with the watchmakers, or my watchmakers, every element of this watch. You know, you think that it's going to be the best engineering. It is the best engineering, because we've had a look at every element, because I wanted to see, how's this done? How's that done? And every element, even when you look at the angles of how they printed the Bamford, how they printed everything, it is really the next level. And that's the attention to detail, the finishing, the feel. So.
No, I mean, I agree. The branding exercise, I think, is first class, because, I mean, we used the logo from Girard-Perregaux from the late 60s. And the signature, your signature, I think, is subtle. Yeah. And I think this makes the collaboration even more meaningful when you do it like this, not too much in your face. So from that perspective, I also think that it's a fantastic product.
And there is a few little Easter eggs when you look on the back. And there's a few more, but those are the two that I can visually tell you about.
How did you come across the colors?
Well, okay, if you look at the original here, and one thing I will say is I've got my vintage piece here, and it sounds very strange, I don't love grey. It's my only colour that I don't connect with, and I should connect with a grey. But when I look at the original one, and there was that black and the orange, I loved the black and the orange. But when we were looking at the colours, and when we were going with the design team at Girard-Perregaux, I love this combination of this blue and orange together, and it really does come together. And it was that real kind of the flame orange pulling forward and it is that play of the two things. And I love love blue. As you know, most of my office has got dark blue in the client rooms and things like that. I love blue. And, you know, for me, this is kind of what I would normally be wearing. So I love this blue. I love this dark blue with orange because there's a real kind of good kind of contradiction between the two of them. So when we were playing back and forth on these colors, the black just for me seemed too severe. And, you know, we were kind of going, oh, we're doing exact, but every element of this has been, yes, it feels like the original, but it's not. You look at them side by side and there's so many elements that are different. And that's why I love the blue and the orange together.
And how did Girard-Perregaux feel about the color scheme?
I think this is important to live with colors also. And by the way, the 1971 edition had a very vibrant red color. So it's also to remain faithful to what the 60s and the early 70s tell us about. And I think when you look at the 60s, it was a decade of all possibles. You know, that's the decade where we fly to the moon, where the Concorde makes its first flight. I mean, this is, you know, everything is possible. And I think this is what we also wanted to express with this Deep Tiger. A joyful decade, celebrating a joyful decade.
And one other thing I will say is and it's put me off buying one, sadly, is the Tiffany style, one of the GP, of these. And it's got a wonderful, grey dial. And I love the combination. I love and that was one of those watches that I look at and I'm like, and recently someone said, oh, you should buy one of these. I was like, it's so cool. But it was the Tiffany's & Co. one that I loved seeing.
As a luxury watchmaker, we love colors and we need colors.
Yeah.
Cross on the watch, I think looks great. It's such a rare opportunity that you're all here, so I wanted I just kind of take the temperature, but what's your outlook on the watch industry? Sorry.
Oh.
Briefly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is an industry like many other industries which is under pressure. I think, you know, this is the kind of time when, as luxury brand, you need to stick to what you are and to your values and to your DNA, and to remain faithful to your heritage and you know, and listen to your clients and making sure that, you know, everything that you introduce in the market and everything you do with your partners is meaningful and relevant. So basically it's, I think, we have to be humble in these kind of times, but I think we are, at least as Girard-Perregaux, and the most important is to stay honest in your work, in what you do.
I agree on that. I would also say it's a roller coaster. That's the easiest way to describe it. There is some ups and downs, but I think when you look at the auctions, what's happened in certain auctions, there's been some watches that have really knocked through the ceiling of prices that people believe. Same with good design watches. You think across the board, there's been some real kind of watches that have knocked out that there's waiting lists for, and I think that's the thing on design, colorways, everything about it. Those are the ones that are really kind of bucking the trend on this. I think bland and boring is sometimes, you know, something that you're not kind of not going to go for. I think people want something that's going to delight them, something that they're going to say, yes, it's amazing. I think it is, as you said, keeping to your core, and that's the greatest thing. That, you know, you think about this is core. This is core in Girard-Perregaux's world, because it is something that they've done in the past. But, you know, you look at all the watches and they're one of those, you know, the Laureata is an amazing watch. You look at the colorways, what it's done. So I would look at it and I would say sometimes some watches are not breaking through it and others are. And that would be my belief. I don't know, as you journalists may say something totally different to me, but I look at what's happening at the auction results. I look at the independents, you know, look at what some independents are really knocking out of the park and some aren't. And that's all on design. It's all on kind of connecting to the person and saying, because there is still money around. There's still people wanting to have something that will delight them. So I think that's still there. It's just getting through this, maybe a quagmire of depressingness and whatever. They're wanting something that will enlighten them. What What do you think about?
Well, yeah, I've been in the watch industry forever. I'm 740 years old, but
So you're older than Girard-Perregaux. Oh my God!
But I would wholeheartedly say at the moment there's an opportunity to start educating customers on again, because it is a new day. We've had times where people were just coming and asking for the same things, and I really do sense that from the guys that I speak to in the watch clubs that I have with Watches of Switzerland, there's an appetite to be educated on different brands, different watches, and I really see that. I genuinely see this at the moment, and I'm just not for the sake of it, but what we see today is refreshing. It's fun, you know, and yeah, there are some other brands out there which we're actively, this particular showroom, Knightsbridge showroom, is a bit of a haven for independent and niche brands, and we're focusing upon that. So please encourage you to have a look around after today as well.
You were on the Discovery. I mean, I discovered a few brands around here, and I you know, it's great because Watches of Switzerland are finding either new brands or old brands and bringing them back through. So it's amazing to discover him.
Good question, thank you. Yeah, no problem.
Can I just ask about the importance of the relationship between Watches of Switzerland and Girard-Perregaux?
I mean, for us, of course, our relationship with the Watches of Switzerland Group is very important. I mean, this is a relationship which is long-lasting. It's forged out of respect and a lot of dedication. I was sharing this morning some thought with one member of the team, and what I said is that since I'm working with Watches of Switzerland, I have known only incredible personality, incredible people, and I think there's a consistent dimension, human dimension within the group, which is professionalism, and dedication, love, and passion for the watches, for the industry, and I think we have followed also the expansion of the group with great interest and pride. I mean, what you have done in the US is so fascinating, and everywhere you go, you turn things into gold, and you, by the way, you are great ambassadors of our industry, and the way you position your group and the way you deal with clients and the way you create experiences in all the big cities of this world helps us a lot also to be more relevant and credible as watchmakers. So thank you.
Thank you. And we're super excited about this collaboration, I must say. This morning, as I say, we've got clients already who are talking about this piece. It's £12,900, I believe, 200 meters water resistance. 218 parts, components, I believe, in the makeup of this watch.
On the movement, and also what we need also to highlight, it's a titanium case, also very, in terms of ergonomy and comfort, I think that brings also a lot to the equation. And of course, in-house proprietary caliber, 3300, which is also, what makes this fantastic piece a true timepiece of horlogerie.
Is there another watch, George, that from the GP archives that you think, given the chance, I'd have a go at that one as
Crystal
well?
Ball. I was talking to some.
A lot of sorts.
And there is one that so there was it's called the Olympic, and it's got one from like a kind of tan dial or a brown dial with a brown bezel with a red accent. For me, that is one of those that every time I see one, I've seen quite a few on people's wrists. I love the design of it. It's a chronograph watch, and I think there's something amazing about that watch. And you were asking if that would be one of the ones, or the quartz one with the quartz dial, unreal. Those two would be my kind of, like, if I could bring something back from the archive. There is demands on other watches, but those would be the things that I would look at. Well, okay, what would you bring back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we have already a third edition, which is in the making, in this legacy edition, which is absolutely brilliant within the Loreto collection. So stay tuned, because this one has really fundamentally all the DNA of the brand, and even more and beyond. And we'll be able to let you know in due time, David.
I mean, these legacy editions, it's been a real talking point.
Yes.
And so, I mean, is that quite you're quite involved in this on a day-to-day basis with the, ideas about what could be happening on the legacy editions?
Yeah, with the team and, everyone in La Chaux-de-Fonds. And for us, it started with Casquette, now with a deep diver. And there will be many more initiatives to come. And for us, again, 234 years of heritage history. I mean, Girard-Perregaux is one of the oldest auto horlogerie manufacturer in the world, certainly the oldest, still independent. And we're very proud of that. And when you look at what we have in the archives, I mean, it's just a succession of innovation. And again, innovation not only in terms of movements, and we know that, GP has always been a brand very much involved in innovating in movements like the three gold bridges in 1867, but also innovating in terms of design. And from that perspective, I think we have a lot of sequences possible in the years to come to enrich this legacy edition.
Marc and George, thank you very much indeed. I found that fantastic, fascinating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for hosting us.
It's been our pleasure. And so, ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you very much also for your questions and your participation here at Watches of Switzerland this morning. And let's go and have a look at some other watches. Thank you very much indeed.